Hey everyone, it's Brenda back again with another episode of Three Uniques. Today I am so thrilled to introduce you to Kate Northrup. Hi Kate, how are you doing today?
Hi, Brenda. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fabulous. It's so awesome to have you on the podcast today. I'm a big fan of your work. So Kate is an author and she's also the founder of the Origin Company. And the two books that you've written that I've both read are Do Less, which I actually read over the holidays and it was perfect timing for me this past holiday season, and then Money: A Love Story, which is so great. Such an awesome book. Um, yeah, I'm so glad to have you on here. And I mean, I think when I work with my clients, it's all about really aligning to their purpose. And there's a lot of fundamental crossover between what you talk about in your books. But essentially, you're here on the planet to reimagine work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
that's
by way of reimagining work, really reimagining life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So, can you sort of maybe bring us up to speed on like how did you get into that? Like what was that influence or that driver for yourself to pursue that?
Yeah. I always knew that having the kind of freedom that entrepreneurship could offer was important to me. I was raised by two very hardworking parents who were both physicians.
Right.
And while we did not want for anything growing up, we had a lot of financial stability. I really wished my parents had been around more. They were just, on call. And then my mom was traveling for work a lot. And there just always seems this constant pull of like, just work was always there. And so I made a decision early on to start my own business so that I could be present when my kids were little.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that was my early driving force. And then I did that. I started in the network marketing industry and built a six-figure business in that industry during college and in my early 20s. And then I kind of transitioned to affiliate marketing and started my own blog and started creating my own workshops and programs. And then Money: A Love Story came out. And then I got married and got pregnant and had a lot of shifts in my identity,
Yeah.
um, from this kind of go-getter, like I can work whenever I want, wherever I want, to having my body shift in some pretty profound ways through that pregnancy and being in a place for the first time in my life where I couldn't just like work harder to overcome something. Just feeling so tired. And then it was through the journey of becoming a mom and giving birth to my first daughter in that first year of her life, which was full of growth opportunities, that the work that is Do Less and that became the Origin Company
Mhm.
came through. So it's always, my work always just comes from my own lived experience and sharing lessons along the way. I don't know if you study human design at all, but it's, that's like very much my my type. And so that's where it came from.
Amazing. And I love the fact that you've created this business, but also the support network for and I don't want to generalize and you tell me, but I think you attract a lot of women entrepreneurs, women leaders, similar type experiences where it's like, we're led to believe that we can have it all, but all seems really overwhelming. And I think you do a really eloquent way of saying, hey, you can have it all. You just need to define what your all is and like get
Yes.
out of the comparison trap. Get off of Instagram and looking at what everybody else's definition of all is and define it for yourself. And some of the exercises in Do Less really get into that, where it's like, hey, here's some things that might be like you've delivered in your business. But if it's not like lighting you up,
Yeah.
and it could still be generating revenue for you, but it's like if it's not lighting you up, then don't do it. What's something over here that you love doing that you want to spend more time on? How did you make those shifts like in your business? Was there anything that because that can sometimes be really intimidating or concerning for
Yeah.
people to walk away from something?
It's such an ongoing journey. I was just talking about this with one of my coaching clients yesterday, or my mentoring clients. There was a time back in 2012 when we were making, mid six figures, I mean, mid five figures a month through evergreen funnels, but they were running ads that were debt language focused. So it was ads that were about getting out of debt, and they worked so well and they got people into the Money Love course. But then one day I just woke up and I was like, we're filling our email list with people who are in debt. Like, this is not going to be good for the prosperity of our business. Not that, listen, the program helps people get out of debt. So obviously, there's kind of this, ascension path, but it just didn't feel good all of a sudden. And that will happen to me where one day I just wake up and I'm like, we have to do things differently. I am not the kind of entrepreneur who, does one thing, like has a signature offer and then perfects it over years and years and years and has one big launch a year. Like, I have a lot of friends who run their business that way. And I have had a history of looking at them and being like, why couldn't I be like them? And I'm just not. I am constantly in an evolution of like, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. And I used to look at that as something that was wrong with me because I was like, oh, waste a lot of time and energy. But now I see it as a superpower where I am always in a process of evolution and growth, and I trust it. So yes, it was very hard, especially for my husband, who was my business partner at the time,
right,
to cut, like to change the ads. And suddenly like they didn't really work anymore in the same way. And, I do it all the time. Like, I pull the plug on things that are working way more than most people would, because right. It's that great quote from Good to Great, Jim Collins, that good is the enemy of great. Like, if something starts to feel boring, I just know that there's something else.
Yeah. That obviously means that you have a huge amount of trust in yourself.
I do. I have a huge amount of trust in myself. Yeah. I have a really strong connection with my inner voice, the divine, whatever the universe. And when I get excited about something and enthusiastic about something and it won't leave me alone, I do trust that that's something bigger calling me forth. It's not just like a weird voice in my head.
So lots of listening, lots of mindfulness practice that full.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely I walk a lot. I'm really slow in the mornings. I take all this time to just do these self-care practices and like get ready, and I work out and I meditate and so, but I'm also like, I'm a pretty busy person. People think because I wrote this book called Do Less that I like don't do things. And, busy mom, like I got a lot going on. I got a lot of friends. I got a lot of things going on. So it's really just a matter of for me, the inkling and the nudges are there all the time. And I guess, I mean, I'm a trained yoga practitioner. Like, I've done tons of I have a million certifications and all kinds of things. So I've been training for decades to be able to hear myself. And so I don't really carve out a ton of specific time. It's just like, I'm in conversation with that part of myself pretty much all the time. And journaling helps me a lot.
Yeah, no, but I think that's great, because sometimes folks will try a practice and they're like, okay, why hasn't it changed? Versus I think like it's now just part of your innate being. Yeah. And just like brushing your teeth, like you just do it. You don't think, like some of us may have to, like when it comes to flossing, but it's just kind of like, that's me. I'll put my list on like, I have to be conscious about flossing, but it's just now part of like what you do every day.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I think we were just talking about one of them, which is that I really trust myself.
Okay.
I really trust those inner nudges, and I take action on them because they're the best source of guidance. They're the best compass. So that's one. Okay. Number two, I love to dance, like way more than most adults. And I make it part of my life as much as possible, whether it's like going to dance class, dancing in the kitchen with my kids, dancing on reels, like whatever I can do. I am my happiest and my most joyful when I'm dancing.
Were you a former dancer in your life?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. All through school, all through college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And do you bring that into like your practice, like with your clients, like, do your friend, like, do you like grab your girlfriends on the dance floor when you go out? Like, is this something that it's like just always?
Yeah. I mean, I don't listen, dancing generally happens late at night, and I like to be in bed at 8:30. So it's a bit of a mismatch, but I do love going to dance class that happens during the daytime hours. and um and in terms of bringing it into my work, we always have, every month in my membership Origin, we have a playlist, and we always do dance breaks as part of our integration at my retreats, and we do dance breaks on our Zoom calls. So yeah, dance and like rhythmic movement are such an important piece of what I teach, which is body first, business second. And there's so much that we can access in our minds and in our creativity when our bodies and our nervous systems are regulated. And one of the best ways we can regulate our nervous systems is through repeated rhythmic movement, right, AKA dancing.
Dancing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And your third unique?
My third would be that, this is a pretty weird one, but I can't wear a watch. And I often, like, when I put on an analog watch, it stops, and I have a strange electromagnetic field, and I will often, like, just by being around it, I will often like mess up the kind of electrical system of a car, or like electronic things do strange things around me. So that is, I don't know that like really helps or hurts my business, but I do sense that it is part of the way I show up in the world. And it is part of what makes me unique. As an entrepreneur, I am very, very, very connected to the more subtle esoteric realms of energy. Like, I feel energy really powerfully, and I bring a lot of subtle energy work into my work, even though it seems like we're just doing normal stuff. Yeah, so that's a big.
I love that. Well, you do talk about doing our work around cycles, understanding the lunar cycle, the menstrual cycle, like just understanding all of that. So that totally connects, like that unique totally connects now, like together, the fact that you don't wear a watch, but there's a reason physically why you don't, but also you mentioned in your book about how you're a lot more dependent on more energetic forces to help you program your work, think about when to do work, think about when to just rest the brain. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, energy is everything. I mean, we are all just energy. Like, matter is sort of an illusion. We're all just a bunch of vibrating atoms. And so being able to kind of see beyond the 3D physical reality helps a lot with being able to access like other ways of being that we might think the only way to get there is like through taking action or through behavior change or through changing our beliefs or our mindset. And sometimes it's actually like an energetic shift.
Love it. Okay. I feel like I need to read some more of go back and read. I did do less on Audible. So
cool.
I'll have to go back and listen to maybe a little bit more about that, because it was
and
really
then there'll be more in my next book. I'm always working on the next thing. So
okay, good.
The next book is really about energy.
Okay, yeah. I was just gonna say, can I make a request? That would be it. Do that. So I just want to ask you a little question, and thanks for sharing your three uniques with us, because I think now the fact that I've read your books, that actually rings true a lot in the content that you provide to your readers. I have a question for you about failure, because I'm just always sort of like thinking about that, not in the sense of like ruminating over it, but just the curiosity of like how it messes us up sometimes. So how is a failure that you have like experienced that set you up for learning and growth?
I mean, it happens, every day. Just like,
right. I think that's part of it. Is just like, yeah, it happens every day.
Yeah,
like,
daily. Let me think of one that would be like relevant and so I had a series of launches in 2020. What year is it? In 2021,
yeah,
that came in under goal. And that could be seen as a failure. In our company, we're always just looking at it as information to adjust. And it also helped me really work on my own relationship with goal setting and sales forecasting, and realizing, for me personally, people love to talk about like, shoot for the stars or shoot for the moon, at least you'll land amongst the stars. For me personally, having like really expansive goals actually makes me feel anxious.
Yeah.
I have found that for myself, it's way more expansive to have a goal that I know I can hit, and then I relax, and then I tend to go beyond it. So that experience of a series of launches where I had these pie in the sky goals where we didn't hit it, and then the team was a bit demoralized, and I didn't really care much one way or another because I'm not particularly goal oriented. Actually, I'm very process oriented, but it helped me as a leader be able to better guide my team and set like our minimum target and stretch goals more within a range of what felt easy, so that we could be more in an expansive energy and just have more play and have more fun and have more flow, which for the way we work creates actually better results than being super like, are we on target for the goal? Okay, if we're not, we have to adjust. What are we going to do? Like, that's just not our style.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for us.
Yeah, I love that. It's more of like an energetic goal versus a get goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving
Totally.
from that. Okay. Very cool. And what's an investment you've made in yourself in say like the last couple of years that's really like you felt has paid off?
This is kind of a weird one and might seem unrelated to business, but it feels very related to me. I found out in the fall that I have my lumbar spine like curves sideways in a very dramatic way. And for years, I was having every now and again, I would throw out my back and have strange hip pain. And I just was like, it's whatever. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But I finally did go see somebody about it and get x-rays and an MRI. And he was like, what happened to you? I've never seen anything like this. It's not scoliosis. It's really just like a very strange, dramatic curve in my lumbar spine.
Yeah.
And I ended up, investing in this relatively expensive, treatment to have stem cells from my own body, harvested and re-injected into the ligaments along my spine to stabilize it.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool process. It's a regenerative medicine center.
My mom's had it done on your knees.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So this regenerative medicine where you can take the substances in your own body to then regenerate other parts of your own body. I just thought that was really magical and quite symbolic that like I could get this part of me harvested to then go to this other part of me, and that I didn't need anything other than myself to heal and support that, my spine. And I've had some really great results from it, and I feel really good. And my mobility is better and my symmetry is better. And those sorts of investments for me, like, I already talked about this philosophy I have: body first, business second. My body is my greatest source of energy and creativity, and my connection to my body is literally everything for my business. I see so many entrepreneurs just sacrificing their health and their physical well-being at the altar of their business, and like as though somehow someday that's gonna work itself out, and it's not. You're like, you can't repay
when I have enough money, when I have enough time,
someday,
someday I will take care of myself.
And then you're just too sick, and there are certain levels of depletion you can't actually fix after a certain period of time, especially as we get like, into our 40s and 50s. And I'm all about regenerative medicine. I'm all about, you can absolutely change your biological age. You can't change your chronological age, but you can absolutely change your biological age. And that being said, like we only get one body. So, and we've all had loved ones with chronic illnesses or, fatal illnesses, and it's awful. And there's like when you watch somebody struggling so deeply, no amount of money in the world, like they would do anything to get their health back.
Yeah. Plus there was something that you said earlier before you got the treatment done, and you've been living with this for a while. It was almost partly, I'm not making an assumption here, but becoming part of your identity.
Well, yeah, and
Some business owners.
I come from a long line of women. My grandmother was the oldest North American woman to ever climb to Mount Everest Base Camp. She was
Very
the
impressive.
age of 84. She did the Appalachian Trail when she was 65. She's like, was like this incredible woman. And so her motto was, don't ask for a lighter pack, ask for a stronger back. So the
It's
Northrup women are like the kind of women who just will never, it just never occurs to us that
yeah,
we could do something about the discomfort. It's like, oh, I'm fine. It's not that bad.
right.
And there are story after story after story of the women in my family. And so I felt like I was also updating that legacy. Like, I don't want my daughters
Yeah.
to be in pain when something could be done about it. And for them to just be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'm fine. And it's like, well, that's fine. You might be fine, but let's go for optimal.
Yeah.
What if your body felt amazing?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that really like looking at and pulling apart the places in which our identity is tied up in grinning and bearing things, and our identity is tied up in just
Yeah.
being able to take it.
Yeah.
And like, why? No one's giving out awards for the amount of pain you suffered through.
Almost like when you do that sort of like money love date with your business and your cash flow and stuff, like do a body scan too.
Yes.
Like, where's
Totally.
that ache feeling? Like, what is that? Like, is it,
Yeah.
a kink in your jaw? Your like tummy's not like digesting well. Like, ask somebody
Mhm.
about that.
Ask something about that, because our body is so wise and it has so much to tell us if we are willing to ask.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, my last question for you is, um, and I do take this from Tim Ferriss. If I was to give you a billboard and you could put anything on it and it could be anywhere in the world, what would you put on it and where would it be?
Um, I would put it in every major US city and probably Japan as well. And it would say, let it be enough.
Nice.
And it would just really give folks a reminder to relax.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for being on today and sharing your three uniques with us and sharing more about your company. And I can't wait for the next book to come out. And I'm so glad you're gonna like make it all about my request. Just I'm sure you had some other people and some other influences on that, but I appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And for everyone tuning in, I always say this at the end. Remember that there's 7.8 billion people out there. So get out there and share your three uniques. Somebody needs what you've got. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.